Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing today? My name is DeGaren, and welcome to the absolute easiest way to obtain the Fish Finder in Terraria 1.4. Now, this is a method that I have personally used to get the Fish Finder myself. It took me like just under an hour to get it. It might take you a few hours if you have like really bad luck, but I don't have the best luck myself. So if I was able to get it in just under an hour, it should not take you all that long. But before we actually get into the actual method, I do need to get across a few things. Uh, First thing, I have actually pre-done some things. So there's a few things you have to do before you actually start the actual method. You have to make some preparations beforehand. What you want to do, obviously, is go to you want to go to the angler and ask for a quest, and go retrieve the quest item that he asks for. But you don't give the quest item to him. What you do is you put it in a chest, and then you save and exit the game. And all of that has to be done in a single Terraria day. And it still has to be that same Terraria day when you're doing that method, because then it would be a different quest item and then it would not work. Next is a few requirements that I need to get across, because these are requirements and they are 100% necessary for this method to work. First thing, it has to be in single player. I haven't tried this method in multiplayer, but I figure that it won't work. It has to be in single player by yourself, obviously. Second is it has to be a chest. It has to be in an actual chest. Your quest item has to be in a chest. It has to be in a storage device that's connected to the world, not your character's inventory. Examples of that is piggy banks and safes. Not any of those. And later on you will see why. Next is that you have to be using a classic character. You have to be using a classic character. Or journey character in a journey world, but for the sake of this, I'm just going to say classic character. Because you have to only be dropping money on death. Speaking of which, if you have money that you don't want to lose, put it in a piggy bank beforehand when you put the quest item in the chest. Because in this method, if you have money on you, you will lose it. And the final and fourth requirement, and this is one that I cannot stress enough, is that autosave has to be off. It has to be off. That's period, has to be off. That's all I can really say on that. Just has to be off. Now let's actually get into the method. So what you want to do is you want to obviously go to single player. You pick your character and you go into the world that you want. Alrighty. Now here's what you do. You enter the chest. You take the quest item that the angler has requested. I'd also recommend autosave be on, because it makes it a lot easier, especially for time, because you only have till the end of that day. Another thing you have to do is make sure autosave is off. Just check that, because that's very important. And then you go over to the angler, and you will give him the quest item. But before I do that, there is two outcomes. The two outcomes are he gives you something you want, or he gives you something that you don't want. So I'm going to say I'm just going to do the quest here, and he gave me this life preserver. Now I don't want this, so all you do once that happens is you Alt F4. You might want to wait a few moments for the game to actually fully shut down, and you load up back the game. Now what happened there is the game doesn't even recognize that I've gone into it. The game doesn't even recognize that I went into that world with that character. The game has not recognized that anything has happened. Now we just wait for Terraria to load back up, and then I will go over what happens when you get something you do want, like a sextant or any of the other items that is necessary to make the fish finder. So Now that we are back into the world, we are going to try again. We are going to pull out the zombie fish quest item and give it to the angler. Now, he gave me sonar potions. I apologize, my recording was interrupted. We'll be continuing from this last point. So what I was saying was, okay, he gave me these sonar potions. Now, this isn't really anything you'd want for a fish finder, but let's just say it is. So, let's say if I wanted this, what you'd want to do is you would want to commit suicide in the game. In the game, you want to commit suicide in the game. So what I like to do is just fly up really high. It doesn't really matter how you kill yourself as long as you kill yourself quickly. Take off my wings here real quick, and now I plummet to my death. Now I like to wait just a couple seconds, and then you Alt F4. Now what happened there was whenever your character dies, it automatically saves your character's inventory or just your character in general. It just saves your character. But since autosave is off, it did not say what happened to the world since I Alt F4'd. The game hasn't recognized that that quest item has left that world's chest, which is why it has to be in a chest and not connected to your character's inventory because your character has now saved that it no longer has the quest item. So when you load back into Terraria, you will see that you will still have the quest item in the chest, but you will also still have the items you received from the angler in your inventory as well. Okay, here's something to note. If you notice that your character is glitched out like this, or it's like some of its accessories or vanity items are not showing up on it, like on this little screen here, that means that your character's bugged out, and that means that it is working. That means that it has successfully worked. Now, sometimes that might not always be the case, and I can think like if your character doesn't have any accessories or vanity items on, it may not, show that obviously. But just that's a little thing to keep in note. If you see that kind of bug, that means it is probably working. So you go back into the world, and as you can see, I still have the potions in my inventory, and the quest item still in the chest. And there you have it. Now all you have to do is keep using this method until you get all the items required to craft the fish finder. I do not know if this works on console or mobile devices, but you guys might have some fun figuring that out for yourself. Or I might make a video on those devices in the future and maybe devising some new methods that are similar to this one. And if you enjoyed, please leave a like. If this video hits 25 likes, I will post my very own duplication glitch. It is very efficient, and maybe you can look forward to that. Please comment whatever kind of videos you would like to see, and maybe some feedback on this method, or whatever kind of methods you would like to see, as maybe there is an item that you want to obtain, but you do not know how. I can maybe make a video on that. And I do have a bit of a confession to make. I am not the best at Terraria as far as combat is concerned. But that is pretty much it. See ya. Again, from the future here, just also want to say I really appreciate all of the support on my last Terraria video. It really means a lot, and just thank you for that. And that is pretty much it. See ya.